So, welcome back. In this lecture, we shall study degrees of extension. What do we mean by degree of an extension? Before going to that, just let me recall what we did in the previous lecture. So, in the previous lecture, we actually proven this fundamental theorem of field theory, which states that suppose f is a field and if fx is any polynomial having coefficients in f, and if fx has no root in this f, then there exists an extension field k of f and an element and alpha in k such that f of alpha is 0. That is, this extension k contains the root of this polynomial alpha. And what was this extension k? K was actually the quotient ring of fx modulo ideal generated by px, where px is irreducible factor of px is an irreducible factor of fx. Okay, so without loss we can now assume that this polynomial fx is irreducible over f, because for if it is reducible, then it would have a root. Okay, and if it is if it is not reducible, then by what we call this unique factorization domain property of this fx, it would have an irreducible factor, and any root of that factor would certainly be a root of fx. So as a note, now we can put it down that we can assume without loss of generality, without any loss, that fx is irreducible over the field f. Okay, now the aim of this lecture is to get a simple description for this field k, which is a quotient ring of fx modulo this ideal generated by the polynomial px. And how do we get this description? We would get from the fact that since k is an extension of f, so therefore k is a vector space over f. So this means k forms a vector space over f. K is a vector space over f. So we might ask for the basis of k as a vector space over f. And once we get a basis of k as a vector space over f, we would have a description of k in terms of those basis vectors. Okay, so this is actually the main aim of this lecture, and this we would prove in the form of this theorem. So we have a theorem now. So theorem 1.2. So the statement of the theorem is, so let px belonging to fx be an irreducible polynomial, over f, where f is a field, and k be the field extension of f, which we constructed in the previous theorem. So k is fx, our ideal generated by px, and alpha, the root of this px, that was alpha, is x plus ideal generated by px. So this is the data we have from the previous theorem. Now this theorem claims that 1 alpha, alpha square, so on, alpha raised to power n minus 1, this set of elements are bases of k as a vector space over f, as a vector space over f. So once we get this set as a basis of k as a vector space over f, we would have a simple description of this field k. What it would be? So hence the field k would now look like in this fashion. So k would be a0 plus, so every element of k would be of this form: a0 plus a1 alpha plus so on plus an minus 1 alpha n minus 1, where these ai's, they are scalars coming from the field f. So these a0, a1, so on, an minus 1, they are in f. Okay, so this is what we want to prove now. We want to prove that these elements 1 alpha, alpha square, so on, alpha n minus 1, it forms a basis of k as a vector space over f. So in order to prove that this set is a basis, we prove that, so we need to prove two things. First, we prove that these vectors span this k, and secondly, these vectors are linearly independent over f. So first, see the spanning property. Okay, so see the proof of this theorem. So choose any arbitrary polynomial ax in fx. Okay, be any polynomial. Be any polynomial. Be any polynomial. Now, since we know that this f is a field, and we know that once f is a field, this fx is a Euclidean domain. Okay, now since this fx, since fx is a Euclidean domain, since fx is a Euclidean domain, since fx is a Euclidean domain, so what do we have in a Euclidean domain? Now you have this polynomial ax. Now this, and you have the other polynomial px, and px is a non-zero polynomial. So you can divide this polynomial ax by the polynomial px to get a remainder. Okay, so by Euclidean property of this fx, your ax would be then qx px plus rx, where these qx rx, they are some polynomial in fx, and degree of rx is strictly less than n, which is degree of this polynomial px. Okay, now here we have ax equals qx px plus rx. In other words, you can say that this polynomial ax belongs to this coset Rx plus ideal generated by Px, because this Qx Px, this product of two polynomials, is actually an element in the ideal generated by the polynomial Px. Okay, so means what? It means that any polynomial Ax in Fx, it is represented by an element, the coset representative of this polynomial is Rx, and degree of Rx is strictly less than n, which is the degree of Px. So this means you can also say it in this fashion. So this also means that Ax plus ideal generated by Px is same as Rx plus ideal generated by Px. Okay, so this means what? This means any arbitrary element of this quotient ring, this field, any element, this, because this Ax was chosen to be an arbitrary polynomial, so this means any arbitrary element of this field is actually of the form Rx plus ideal generated by Px, where degree of Rx is less than n. So therefore this field would precisely be, so it is Rx plus ideal generated by Px such that degree of Rx is less than n. Okay, so any element of this field would be of this form. Okay, degree of Rx is less than n. So we can, without loss of generality, assume that the degree of Rx is, say, n minus 1. So let degree of Rx is n minus 1, and say Rx is this polynomial. Say Rx equals a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus so on plus an minus 1 x n minus 1. Okay, now this is an arbitrary element here. This is an arbitrary element of this, and it is of this form. Okay, so let me write here this. So now if I take Rx plus ideal generated by Px, okay, so Rx is this, so this would equal to a0 plus a1x plus so on plus an minus 1 x n minus 1 plus ideal generated by Px. And as we have seen, the addition of cosets, it would become a0 and then 1 plus ideal generated by Px. So first element plus a1 x plus ideal generated by Px plus so on, plus at last you will have a n minus 1 and then x plus ideal generated by Px whole power n minus 1. Okay, and this is nothing but 1 in this field, the quotient ring. This 1 plus ideal generated by Px is actually 1 of this field. So this would be then a0 plus, and what is this, x plus ideal generated by Px? It is nothing but alpha, a1 alpha plus next element would be a2 alpha square plus so on plus an minus 1 alpha n minus 1. And what does it mean? It actually means that any element of this fx over ideal generated by px is now a linear combination of 1 alpha alpha square so on alpha n minus 1. So it means that 1 alpha alpha square, these elements, these vectors, and alpha n minus 1 span k, which is fx over ideal generated by px. So we have done one thing. We have shown that this set spans k. Now next we show that these vectors are linearly independent over f. Okay, so to show that they are linearly independent, suppose on contrary that they are not linearly independent. Okay, so now if 1 alpha alpha square so on alpha n minus 1 were not linearly independent. So that means linearly independent in K. That means there would be a linear combination of this form b0 plus b1 alpha plus so on plus bn minus 1 alpha n minus 1 equal to 0 in K with these bi's, with b0 b1 so on bn minus 1, they are in f, and not all of these bi's, they are 0, not all 0. Now this is equal to 0. This linear combination equal to 0 is equivalent to, this is equivalent to writing in this form b0 1 plus ideal generated by px, because this combination is 0 in K, and in K you have this meaning of plus b1 x plus ideal generated by px, this is your alpha, plus so on plus bn minus 1 x n minus 1 plus ideal generated by px equals px, ideal generated by px. So this linear combination equal to 0 in K is equivalent to having this equation in K. And this would actually imply that, so by addition of cosets and by definition of scalar multiplication in the quotient ring, which is also a field over f, which is also a vector space over f, so you have this b0 plus b1x plus so on plus bn minus 1 x n minus 1, this plus ideal generated by px equals ideal generated by px. Equals ideal generated by px. So this means what? This means that This means that this polynomial b0 plus b1x plus so on plus bn minus 1 x n minus 1 belongs to ideal generated by Px. Now since this ideal generated by Px is a principal ideal, so it means that this also means that this Px divides this polynomial. Say this polynomial is Gx. So this means that Px divides Gx, which is not possible. Which is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because degree of Px is n and degree of this polynomial Gx is n minus 1. So it is not possible. Okay, so Px is having a bigger degree than this polynomial Gx. So Px cannot divide Gx in Fx. So our assumption that these vectors are linearly dependent is wrong. So this proves that. So hence 1 alpha so on alpha n minus 1 are linearly independent in K. So hence they are bases, hence form a basis of K over F. So once these vectors are linearly independent bases, so it actually means that any arbitrary element of K would be a linear combination of these vectors. So the simple description of K would be then, so K is what? K is actually Fx our ideal generated by K is Fx our ideal generated by Px. Okay, so it is now then a0 plus a1 alpha plus so on plus an minus 1 alpha n minus 1, where a0 a1 so on a n minus 1 they are in F. Okay, hence the theorem is proved. Okay, so now we have a simple description of this field K. Now motivated from this, and in general you can say that once we have a basis we can talk of dimension. So from here we have that the dimension of this field K as a vector space over the field F is n. So dimension of K as a vector space over F is n. Now motivated from this dimension we give it a name in a general way, because if you choose any field F and if you take any extension K of F, so K would be a basis, K would be a vector space over F. Once K is a vector space over F, we can talk of the basis of K as a vector space over F. Once we have basis, then we will have a dimension of K as a vector space over F. So this dimension of K as a vector space over F is actually the degree of extension of K over F. Okay, so now we have the definition. So now we have a definition. So let K be an extension of F, extension field of F. then the degree of K, the degree of the extension, this extension K of F, denoted by this symbol, is what? Is the dimension of K as a vector space over F. Is the dimension of K as a vector space over F. Okay, and this degree is said to be finite if K is a finite dimensional vector space over F. Otherwise, it is said to be infinite. So the extension K of F is said to be finite if its degree is finite. Means K is a finite dimensional vector space over F is finite. Otherwise it is said to be infinite. It is said to be infinite. Okay, so as we have just seen in the proof of the previous theorem, so as a remark you can write this remark 1.2. so if Px is an irreducible polynomial over F and degree of Px is say n, then from the above theorem the extension K, which is Fx over ideal generated by Px, is a finite extension, because we have just seen that it has a finite basis, is a finite extension. Is a finite extension. Okay, and degree of extension of K over F is n, and n is actually the degree of this polynomial. Okay, so the degree of K over F depends on the degree of the irreducible polynomial Px. Okay, now coming back to one of the well-known examples that we also discussed in the previous lecture. So example 1.3. So you might ask, what is the degree of extension of C over R? Okay, so dimension of C as a vector space over R, so it is obviously 2, as we know that these vectors, these elements 1 I, these two elements, complex numbers, this set is a basis of R as a vector space, basis of C as a vector space, over R, as a vector space over R. Or alternatively, because this C can be alternatively thought of as this extension, as I explained in the last lecture. Rx, our ideal generated by x square plus 1. And this polynomial is irreducible. And what is the degree of this polynomial? This polynomial is having of degree 2. So as we have noticed in the previous theorem, the degree of extension of E is same as the degree of this polynomial. So this means you have this degree of extension of this E over R is 2. And how does this extension look like? It looks like A plus B alpha, such that AB belonging to R. Because we have just seen that if this polynomial has degree n, then 1 alpha, alpha square, so on, alpha n minus 1. These elements, they are the basis of E over F. So you have this polynomial of having degree 2. So therefore this means the basis vectors here are 1 and alpha. Okay. So now I think the idea is clear. The degree of extension is actually the dimension of the extension field as a vector space over the smaller field. And if you have an irreducible polynomial Px over a field F, and you get this extension K, which is Fx over ideal generated by Px, okay, then the degree of this extension K over F is nothing but the degree of this polynomial Px. Now we would look that we have got this extension K of E, which is, it has two descriptions. What are the two descriptions of this extension? As we have seen in the proof of the previous theorem. So this K, which is Fx our ideal generated by Px. So first description is this one, that as in the proof of the theorem we have seen that this is what? This is Rx plus ideal generated by Px, such that this Rx is a polynomial in Fx and degree of Rx is less than n, which is degree of Px. And the other description in terms of basis vectors, these 1 alpha, alpha square, so on, alpha n minus 1, the other description of this K is this one, A0 plus A1 alpha plus so on plus an minus 1 alpha n minus 1, such that these AIs, they are in F. Now we actually want to know how do we add and multiply any two elements in this field K. Okay. As far as the addition is concerned, we have no problem, because if we take any two members here in K, say I take Rx plus, so addition, if I take any two members here, Rx plus ideal generated by Px, and I take any other member, say Sx plus ideal generated by Px in this K, and I want to add them up, I would simply add them as we add the polynomials. I would add them R and this polynomial Sx and Rx. Now see here, Rx is a polynomial whose degree is less than n. Sx is a polynomial whose degree is less than n. So therefore, if I add Rx with this polynomial Sx, I would get a polynomial Rx plus Sx, and degree of Rx plus Sx would again be less than n. So Rx plus Sx plus this ideal generated by Px. So since the degree of Rx plus Sx is less than n, I would have no problem. I would again get back an element of this k. Okay. Now, if I multiply Rx, if I multiply these two elements, then I would have to follow some rule. What is the rule? See here. Now I want to multiply Rx plus ideal generated by Px, and I want to multiply it with this Sx plus ideal generated by Px. Now again I would multiply Rx and Sx, so I would get Rx Sx plus ideal generated by Px. Now there is no guarantee that the product of these two polynomials Rx and Sx, it would be having degree less than n. It might have a degree bigger than n. Now what do I do here? As I did in the case of the proof of the theorem, where I divided the polynomial, I have chosen this polynomial Ax in the theorem, and I applied the Euclidean property of this ring Fx. Again I would do the same trick here. What do I do here? I would divide this polynomial Rx Sx with Px to get a remainder. Okay, I would get a remainder whose degree would be smaller than the degree of this polynomial Px. Okay, so it would be what? It would be now, say, Hx plus ideal generated by Px, where what is our Hx here? Where Hx is the remainder of degree less than n obtained by dividing Rx Sx by Px in Fx. So remember this rule. As far as the addition is concerned, as far as the addition in this field is concerned, I have no problem. I take any two elements, I can add them simply by adding these two polynomials Rx and Sx. But once I multiply, this product polynomial Rx Sx might have degree bigger than n. So what do I do here? I apply the Euclidean algorithm property of this ring Fx. I divide this product Rx Sx by the polynomial Px in Fx and get the remainder as the representative of this coset. So this coset, this coset would become Hx plus ideal generated by Px. Now Hx has degree less than n, and it is obviously an element here. Okay, so this is when we take this representation of this field K. Similar rule applies in case I take this representation, this description of K. Again, see here, if I take any two members here, they would be polynomials of degree less than n in alpha. So if I add them, I would again get a polynomial of degree less than n, or you can say of degree n minus 1 in alpha. So addition, again, here is no problem. Addition is simple. But the multiplication, if you take any polynomial in alpha of degree n minus 1 and take any other polynomial in alpha of degree n minus 1 and now multiply, there would be a possibility that the degree of the product polynomial would increase. But we can easily show that any polynomial of degree bigger than n minus 1 in alpha can be actually represented by a polynomial of degree n minus 1 in alpha. See how. So we will see it. So multiplication here in case of second description. Multiplication. Now without loss I can assume that the polynomial px is monic. How? Suppose px is monic. The polynomial px belonging to fx is monic. Because multiplying by a constant, multiplying by a non-zero constant to this polynomial px, it won't affect the ideal generated by px. Also, it won't affect the roots of this polynomial px. So there is no loss if I can assume that, if I assume that this polynomial px is monic. Okay. So if it is monic, it would be of this form. So px, I can take this px as x raised to power n plus an minus 1 x n minus 1 plus so on plus a1x plus a0. Okay. Now since p alpha is 0 in k, p alpha is 0 in k, it means that alpha raised to power n plus an minus 1 alpha n minus 1 plus so on plus a1 alpha plus a0 is 0. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that I can write this alpha raised to power n as minus times an minus 1 alpha n minus 1 plus so on plus a1, okay, plus a1 plus a0 plus a0, okay, plus a0. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that alpha raised to power n is a linear combination of lower powers of alpha. So it means alpha raised to power n is a linear combination of lower powers of alpha. Lower powers of alpha. Okay. Now suppose I want to take any higher power of alpha higher than this alpha raised to power n. Say I want to take this alpha raised to power n plus 1. So what do I do here? I would multiply both sides of this equation by alpha. So it would be then minus times a n minus 1 alpha n plus a n minus 1 alpha n minus 1 plus so on plus a1 alpha a1 alpha plus a0 alpha. Okay. Now again I can substitute here alpha raised to power n, the value of alpha raised to power n from this equation. Okay. So once I substitute, I know that these alpha raised to power n is actually a linear combination of lower powers of alpha. So what I would get? I would get that alpha raised to power n plus 1 would be again a polynomial, a linear combination of powers, and the powers won't exceed n minus 1. So alpha, this means alpha raised to power n plus 1 would be actually what? It would be some polynomial. Say bn minus 1 alpha n minus 1 plus so on plus b1 alpha plus b0. Okay, so what I want to say here is that any higher power of alpha, say alpha n plus 1 and so on, is a linear combination of powers not exceeding n minus 1. Okay, so this means what? Any polynomial in alpha can be written as a polynomial of degree less than n in alpha. So hence any polynomial in alpha can be written as a polynomial of degree less than n in alpha. Okay, so I will have no problem in multiplication also, because any polynomial in alpha I can write as a polynomial of degree less than n in alpha, and that polynomial would be actually a member of this field K. Okay, so I can summarize the whole discussion in the form of this corollary. What is the corollary? So corollary would be, so I will write this corollary and I would stop this lecture. So let K be the extension as in theorem 1.2, as in previous theorem, that is theorem 1.2. So let A alpha B alpha be any two polynomials of degree less than n in K. Okay, then the addition of A alpha B alpha is defined simply by addition of polynomials, by usual addition of polynomials, by usual addition of polynomials. And what do we do in case of multiplication? So as far as multiplication, so A alpha B alpha would be R alpha, where Rx is the polynomial. So Rx is the polynomial obtained as a remainder of degree less than n by dividing this product Ax Bx by this polynomial Px in Fx. Okay, so these are the simple rules of addition and multiplication in this field K, which is fx, our ideal generated by px. So hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Okay, so we would meet in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.